rolling. Brecka. Many of you know me as Black African stars, celebrities, and professional athletes. I literally travel the globe searching for ways to biohack the body, to optimize the body, to get into the genetics, into the cell, into the DNA, and rip it apart and put it back together to enhance optimal function. It's just science. I thought they were going to play that before I go on stage. I'm more famous than famous people, but I really love these ones to get the pros in on my shirt because I intend to give everything to give to the pros, the athletes, and the celebrities and the A-listers to all of you. And I am so on board with the mission of this company. It's unreal. You know, when Stormy asked me to come potentially speak at this event, I've spoken at a lot of events, so I thought the first thing I would do is dive into these products. But as I was saying this morning, when I was done diving into the products, I get on the elevator to come down, and I hit the lobby, and I was like, I don't even know what this event is. And so I started asking the gentleman and the guys in the front desk, they didn't know where it was. And I walked towards the door, I kid you not, I realized this about being on my talk today. I felt the energy of this room from the center of the hallway. And I started walking this way, and halfway down the hall, I ran into two beautiful ladies. I don't know where they are. You probably remember me. Now you wish you were nice to me because I'm on stage. But they were on their way here too, and I followed them to the event. So over the next 40 minutes, I'm going to break through the laws of speaking from the stage. Number one, it says don't talk about science. All I know is science. So I'm going to talk about science. And then it's going to step back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to parse them out and tell you guys to raise your belief in these products. Right? Because if you believe in these products and you understand what they do, then at the end of my speech today, I'm going to tell you about a frequency that will leave your body you have no control over, that will actually empower somebody you are talking to take every word from your mouth and put it into action.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Tell you how to control somebody else's mind with your frequency. It's a fact. Woo. It's an absolute fact. Okay. So let's get started. First of all, I want to give you a little background on myself. I was always in the wellness space. For 20 years, I was a mortality expert for the insurance service. What does that mean? That means if I got 5 years of medical records on you and 5 years of demographic data, I can tell the insurance company how many more months you had left to live. It doesn't matter if you're 82 years old and terminally ill, or if you're 30 years old and male or female, never been to a doctor. I can tell how many months you have left to live. In fact, by the time I left that career, I was one of only 5 certified expert witnesses in federal court for litigation to predict death. The reason why I tell you that is because in the science of death, I found wellness and well-being.
Wow.
I found science about health. I found keys to impacting people's lives in a way to help them live longer, healthier, happier lives. I want all that knowledge from you guys today. And it is fact-based. Okay? I studied the database of 370 million lives, the largest database in the world, for 20 years. And I finally recorded that career and I'll share that story with you shortly. But in 20 years of studying how people leave this earth, we know that everyone in this room and everyone on this planet, we all leave on Earth the same way. Does anybody know what the definition of death is? This is an odd way to start speech, by the way. What's the definition of death? The definition of death is hypoxia, lack of oxygen to the brain. Brain is made of oxygen, that's what you got. Only we realize, 5 of us realize in that space, that we think of death as an event, a bullet wound, a gunshot, a bus, a heart attack, a stroke. But the truth is, 85% of this planet is slowly sliding into less and less and less oxygen. Slowly sliding away. And we can tilt that belt. It doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to happen. And it's an army of people like you, not physicians. It's an army of people like you that's going to change humanity. You have a chance to touch lives in a way that modern medicine is not touching lives today. Yes. I really believe that. And the way that we're going to do it is we're going to do it by imparting the knowledge of these products
Wow.
Wow.
Like that was a twitch, right? If you were a contractor, you were the third leading cause of building collapse, or you sold security systems, you were the third leading cause of home break-ins, we wouldn't tolerate that, but for some reason we tolerated bottom medicine. So to change the face of humanity is not going to be left up to sick care, it's going to be left up to all of you. So I'm going to boil down 20 years of research real quick to 3 topics. We found that 3 things were so important to living longer and living healthier lives that I want to give them to you today. These are the three things that impacted people's lives today. The number 1 thing, believe it or not, was if I can get this going here, was blood sugar control.
Okay.
Believe it or not, one of the top 3 leading causes of accelerated passing with blood sugar control, glycemic control. You know that the United States is still one of the few countries in the world that continues to call Alzheimer's and dementia Alzheimer's and dementia? Does anyone know what those diseases really are? You're welcome to Google it. Type 3 diabetes. Google it. Type 3 diabetes. If you Google type 3 diabetes, you can see Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, Kellogg University, the U.S. federal government, the National Institute of Health, the National Library of Medicine, they all know this. Elevated blood sugar causes the brain to store plaques in the little spaces in the brain between nerves. They lie about Alzheimer's and dementia that people lose their memory. That is not true. People lose access to their memory. Access to their memory. Once they lose access to their memory, that access can be restored. So we're going to talk today about blood sugar. We're going to talk about blood sugar because I think the Bible should say that blood sugar is the root of all evil, not the love of money, but because it's a part of a lot more damage than the love of money. So blood sugar was one. Hormone balance, how well your hormones work, hormone balance, and nutrient deficiencies. Nutrient deficiencies. And I tell you these 3 things because if these are the 3 leading causes of death, and we can go out in the world and we can prevent these 3 things, and we can have an impact on humanity that will go so far beyond the people in this room, so many generations beyond the people in this room, that you will be imparted with the frequency of the universe to be successful. How many of you in this room, I want you to give me a shout. How many in this room really want to be wealthy? Does anyone know what the root meaning of the word wealthy is? Do you know where the word wealthy comes from? Well-being. The Latin root of wealthy is well-being. To be wealthy means to be healthy. If you have well-being, you are by design wealthy.
Wow.
So if you focus on the well-being, the universe will give you wealth. That's the fact. So what I did was I started looking at these products, right? And as a scientist, please don't take offense to this, I did not want to like them. Okay? I'm very skeptical, I'm very hypothesis-driven, I'm very fact-based, there has to be clinical research to support it, and I thought here was another one of those companies more interested in the sale than the value of the product and the substance of the product. And so my original inclination was to tear into them. And I'm going to take you on that journey and tell you what I found. I'm going to take you on that journey and tell you what I found. So I started by taking this Delgado coffee.
Yes.
Somebody tell me one thing that's in this besides caffeine.
Gano.
Reishi mushroom. What's reishi mushroom? Red reishi mushroom. Good. Everybody you guys should know these products as good as I do. I've been in this game a month, and I can eat every product in this, every product in Nutriverse. I can tell you everything that does besides the human body, and you should too. If you get familiar with these, if you get familiar with these ingredients, you will impact people's well-being. impact their well-being, we will be wealthy. That is a fact. I started looking at this product, and I noticed that it had red reishi mushroom, and they combined it with, the red reishi mushroom with caffeine. So I started digging into the research. Is my computer up there? Can you guys see this? This is the Cardinal Sims. Okay. So I started digging into some clinical research, and if you guys want this, I'll send it to you. So I started digging into clinical research. And here's what I found. I found that the reishi mushroom has been around for 2,000 years. And the Chinese use this herb as a herb of spiritual potency. This herb symbolizes success. It symbolizes well-being. And it symbolizes longevity. Do you know what the root word of longevity? Do you know what longevity means in Chinese and longevity means in Latin? It means length of service. A long path to serve. So longevity means to serve. So we need to serve the people that are interested in these products, and we need to be interested in their well-being. Because longevity is not about living long, it's about living a life of service. So, my mind went, boom! Okay, we started off pretty good. TLC, we're doing good. So I took it, I felt amazing. And I'm going to come back to these words, success, because I know everybody in here wants to be successful. Success. Dude, by the way, I just sung that song in my head to make sure I spelled it right. That's a TLC song about success. But success, and then what was the other one? It was well-being. We're going to come back to this. Well-being. And longevity. Now, I want you to put yourself in my shoes. I'm a research scientist. I got a degree in biology. I got a degree in human biology. I got 20 years of neurochemistry research for background mortality. And I started digging into science. And I see that this is an herb of divine power, well-being, success, and longevity. And I started to then piece these products together. So the next thing I did was pull up the internet. Here's where things got really interesting. I got goosebumps when I started telling the story today. I started digging into the Nutriverse. And I pulled up the research on the ingredients in Nutriverse. And I'm going to actually show it to you right now. It's long. All right, let's get up. Okay, here we go. We're getting into the area I want to talk about. But what this research study did, this will blow your mind because it blew mine. What this research study did was it looked at the effect of B vitamins on the human body in synergy with other ingredients. Now look at this. I'm going to start right here. Okay. This study came out in 2016. Let me tell you something that blew my mind. I asked Jack backstage, right before I came on stage, I said, when did you guys find Nutriverse? He said, 1999. I said, it can't be. It couldn't have been 1999. The clinical research proving every ingredient in this product did not come out until 2016. Here it is.
Wow.
So as I dug into this research, I said, I wonder if it has thiamine. Do you know if this has thiamine in it?
Yes.
Somebody say yes. Okay, does it have riboflavin? Yes. Does it have niacin?
Niacin.
Yes. Does it have folate?
Yes.
sensitivity and reactivity in the human gut is about the speed of the human gut, how contents move through the gut. There are people sitting in this room right now that eat foods that they think irritate their gut. There are people sitting in this room right now that think that they have a food allergy, and they don't. Usually when I have somebody tell me they have a food allergy, I ask them the question, are you ever able to eat that food and not have a reaction? If the answer is yes, then you don't have an allergy. You're allergic to milk, you're not allergic to it on Monday morning, no longer allergic to it on Wednesday afternoon, and then will be allergic to it on Saturday morning. But you'll say, sometimes I can eat gluten, or corn, or dairy, or soy, and I don't have a reaction. That's because allergy medicine is 1999 medicine. Modern medicine has discovered that speed that the intestinal tract moves is more important than what we eat. And what we discovered in my research was that pathology and disease doesn't exist nearly as much as we think. In almost every case, disease and pathology is missing raw materials in the body. It's the absence of raw materials. The body cannot do its job. Just like if I asked you to give me a chocolate chip cookie, but I didn't give you brown sugar and didn't give you chocolate chips, there's nothing wrong with you. You just don't have the raw materials to complete the task. Most human beings are deficient in raw materials, and that's why we need it. That's why we need it. If you look at modern day diagnosis of depression, anxiety, how many of you know somebody who's affected by either depression or anxiety? Yeah, it's rampant. 44% in this country right now is on an antidepressant. Do you know how we define depression in the United States? We define depression as an inadequate supply of serotonin, which means if your serotonin is low, you are by definition depressed. But guess what we don't do? We don't raise serotonin. The definition of depression is low serotonin, so the cure should be raising it. We don't. We put people on an SSRI. We take what little serotonin they have and we ration it. And that's why people are on antidepressants for 16, 18, 20 years. They come to my office. I say, how long have you been on antidepressants? 18 years, Gary. I say, well, when did you think it was going to kick in? When did you think that this was going to kick in? What's the definition of insanity? You know what happens? Serotonin. Anybody know where serotonin is made? In the gut. 90% of the serotonin in our brain started in the gut. If we don't have the raw material to make serotonin in the gut, it never makes it to the brain. We are by definition depressed. So what if there was a combination of nutrients in here that would raise serotonin, clinically proven in a research study to raise serotonin that could actually treat depression? I'm not making a claim. It's right there. You can read it yourself. That's the National Institute of Medicine, the National Library of Medicine at the National Institute of Health. 1999, 2016. You guys think that there's something going on that you might want to be a part of? A wellness movement here, a well-being movement that you may have been called to do? Because I feel that way. I feel that way. So I kept going. So now I'm interested. I'm like, wow. 1999, the research comes out in 2016 about what this can do for the gut, what this can do for mood. See, we're like, man, why do I feel so good when I take this product? Not because I'm going to make money, because it's affecting your well-being. It's working. It's raw material in the human body, right? And when we're deficient in raw material, it manifests itself as disease. So, then I made my way to the Slim AM. And please, I apologize. I'm just going time trying to go by science. Because I believe if you quote published research, you don't have to make a claim. They're making a claim. You quote published research, you don't have to make a claim. So in this is something called L-arginine.
Right.
You know what? Are you guys familiar with what L-arginine does? What happens when you put L-arginine into the body? Is somebody say nitric oxide? Yes, L-arginine turns into something called nitric oxide. What it does, amongst other things, it enhances mood. Enhances mood by dilating the blood vessels. And when blood vessels dilate, blood gets to places in the brain that it couldn't get to without L-arginine dilating the pathway to get there. a combination of two things. Neurotransmitters, like serotonin, and oxygen. Oxygen. If you don't have oxygen, you cannot form an emotion. You can only form low emotional states. Anger takes zero oxygen. That's why I'm devastated and I can pinch you and you can wake up angry. Not a human being living on this earth has ever woken up laughing. Let that sit there for a second. Not a human being walking the face of this earth has ever woken up laughing. It's impossible to wake up laughing. Why? Because laughter is an elevated emotional state. It requires a lot of oxygen to the brain. Now, arginine provides that. So I started digging into the research. I was reading about the L-arginine pathways, and I was summarizing my research here, and I stumbled upon the summary quote in Science Today that said this: "You guys can take this right now, and you can use this, because that is from a published research article." You see what that says? It says, "The demonstrated anti-aging benefits of L-arginine show greater potential than any pharmaceutical or nutraceutical agent ever previously discovered." You think something good going on here? Yeah. You think this is by accident? I don't know. I sure don't. So I got really excited because when we research, my heroes are people like David Sinclair, Harvard researchers, Dave Ashley, Rick Greenfield, biohackers from all over the world. I travel the globe going to biohacking conferences, trying to find ways to optimize human potential. And what I have seen here, and the synergistic union between these raw materials has absolutely just blown my mind. Has absolutely just blown my mind. So if I can get blood flow and B vitamins, which is what this research article is on, that research article said that every hormone manufactured in the human body, male and female, requires that cascade of B vitamins. So NutriBurst is balancing your hormones. And if I balance your hormones, I'm already shoring up one of the pillars of optimal health. If I can improve hormone balance, I can live a longer life, a happy life, a healthy life. The primary role of the green leafy mushroom is to control blood sugar. So you wake up in the morning, you get a nice caffeine burst, and you dump the racial mushroom in there, and not only improves cognitive function, but it also balances your blood sugar. And then you take a NutriBurst, and that starts to balance your hormones. And also, remember nutrient deficiencies. The two biggest deficiencies that we saw in modern America that led people to early trips to the grave were vitamin D3 and B12. Vitamin D3 is the only vitamin that a human body can make. Your body has hundreds of vitamins floating around your bloodstream right now. You're only capable of making one. God made man and woman with the ability to make a single vitamin. How important do you think that is to human function? Very, yes, very. 85% of the African American population is clinically deficient in this nutrient. This is the reason why COVID disproportionately affects minorities. Has nothing to do with their ethnicity, has everything to do with being Louisiana. If your vitamin D3 levels are low, you are more susceptible to all forms of disease. Pathology, diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, thyroid disease, little bone disease, and viral hepatitis. 85% of that population is clinically deficient in vitamin D3. So how much good do you think you can do for your community just by raising the level? You know, as we age, we saw the grandma talk about size too cold. But Jack, we'll talk about size too hot. We eat at the first instant and hunger. We were not evolutionarily meant to have a cabinet full of crackers and eat off the helmet. It's good to be hungry. It's good to be cold. It's good to be hot. Our body defends itself when it's stressed. If you don't load your bones, they don't strengthen. If you don't tear your muscles, they don't grow. And if you you don't challenge your immune system, it will weaken. I will just leave it at that. If you do not challenge your immune system, it will weaken. All right, what you're doing right here in this room right now is the best thing that you can do for your immune system. That's the fact. So I kept going. I didn't want to slow down. I kept going, and I was like, there's so much science and so much research here. I'm so excited about what I'm seeing. So then I got onto the sea moss.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? So the nautilus sea moss, and the nautilus sea moss has a specialized type of fruit in it called the dragon fruit.
Yes.
Now, dragon fruit was studied for all kinds of things, but mainly it was studied for its role in reversing diabetes. And as I got into the studies, the final body weight of all of the participants in this study decreased significantly. At the end of the treatment protocol, there we go. Oh, thank you. You told me it was going to be up here. And then you took it. Because I don't know, there's some kind of YouTuber thing going on, and I had my display up there, and I saw this kid run out and take my display. So I got it back. So I'm on to the YouTubers, right? So now this dragon fruit is a very special type of fruit. Guess what this dragon fruit has been research proven to be enhanced by? L-arginine. Which is just in the product that I took, which is enhanced by B vitamins, which is in the previous product, which is turbocharged by the Reishi mushroom, which is in the first product. And that is a fact. That is just a fact. So now when I start to sync these things together, I feel like my head's going to fall off my shoulders. And I'm going through this research, and lo and behold, look what happened to the participants that did not have that dragon fruit. It led to a reduced feeling of well-being. I don't know if you noticed, but in the first research study I quoted, the article was Science and Interaction of B vitamins on Brain Function and Well-being. In the third article that I referenced, the fourth biggest thing that participants experienced was an increase in their sense of well-being. In the fifth research article that I pulled up on dragon fruit, it said that without it, there was a decreased sense of well-being. I got goosebumps right now. I kid you not. Close enough to see these, but I have goosebumps up and down my arms right now. If you don't think that there is something afoot with these products in this company, your mission to touch people's lives, I don't know. And the fact that somebody in a garage, without his own knowledge, was able to develop a product that 17 years later was research clinically proven to improve humanity's function, cognitive function, well-being, hormones, nutrient deficiencies, the wake energy, the depth of delta wave sleep, to me is absolutely mind-blowing. And I will tell you this. In 22 years of research, I have seen the word well-being appear 5 times. It was all research for these products.
Wow.
That is God's There's here with well-being. And remember that well-being is the root of wealth. And so, I started to think about what all this meant. And Jack Strayer, you know, as a scientist, as a researcher, I have heard about this universal law of attraction. How many of you have heard about that? All right, how many of you believe in the universal law of attraction? You know what the universal law of attraction really is? You see, I disbelieved it. I thought, oh, this is a bunch of spiritual
Yes.
which means that you can get energy
Yes.
from touching somebody else's life.
Yes.
You can get energy from helping another person. You can vibe with another person, and two of you can create energy that neither of you had entering the room. You know what the number one healing factor is in the human body? Frequency. Frequency. So, I decided to start studying frequency because I became obsessed with the fact that there's something that we can't see that leaves our body that we don't control. It actually can control other people. And by the way, it can control my destiny. And so I started digging into the research behind frequency. And there is published research that came out of Germany called the Scale of Positive and Negative Experience called Spain. I'm not going to give you all the details of all that in here. But the Spain scale was a way of measuring frequency leaving people's bodies. Right? And they got so accurate at measuring the frequency leaving a human being that they could put you in a room on Faraday's cage. A practitioner could sit down the hall on a different floor, and they could read your frequency, and they could tell you exactly how you were in. Not just what mood you were in, but where you were on that mood. So in other words, you weren't just upset, you were disappointed.
Wow.
You weren't just disappointed, you were irate. You weren't just irate, you were angry. You weren't just passionate, you were elated, you were joyful, you were aroused. It was that accurate. And what they found
I can't hear you.
was that the highest frequency that a human being can emit, the strongest frequency that can leave your body that you do not control, is a frequency called authenticity. Authenticity. How many of you know what authenticity is? There are a couple of authentic people in this company out there. I meditated with one of them this morning. And I was all inspired because unbeknownst to this morning, I've been studying the laws, the physical laws of frequency. And she kept repeating something in the meditation this morning that just struck me. She said, I will be truthful in my words. And that is half of authenticity is that you are truthful. The second half of authenticity is that you believe what you're saying. If what you're saying is the truth, and you believe it, you will emit the frequency of authenticity. It's the strongest frequency that can leave your body. So if you know that, then I would go deep into the study of the products that you sell so you can believe in those products, so you can control somebody else's behavior when you talk to them about what this will do for them. Because if you believe what you're saying, and what you're saying is truthful, they will change. You can actually take control of their life. And that, by the way, is the fact. I keep putting in science because I want you guys to pull these articles up. I'll leave them all for you because what we're talking about is science-backed research. So every time I take a stage like this and I talk about optimal health and wellness, and I talk about disease and pathology, I always know that people's minds start running. They start getting questions in their mind. So I'd like to take the last 15 minutes of my talk. I want to open it up to questions. You can ask me anything about the human body, about pathology, about disease, about your products, about an ailment that you have. And if you have something wrong in your body, or someone that you love has something wrong in their body, I will right here from this stage tell you the raw material that is missing in their body that they need to replace to stop the process from happening. This hand up there, you're white. High blood pressure. So high blood pressure is also called hypertension. Okay, hypertension. I spoke not too long ago to a group full of physicians, and how many of you are in failures for hypertension runs? Oh yeah, lots of them, okay? So let me tell you the most common myth in modern medicine is that hypertension is genetic.
Wow.
You've been told that. You've been told you have familial hypertension. You've been told you inherited your hypertension from your mother or your father. It is the amino acid that reduces the most inflammatory compound in your body, homocysteine, in something called alkaline. So, if you look at your products, your B vitamins, especially your B12 vitamins, riboflavin, niacin, zinc, magnesium, those bring down something called homocysteine. As you bring down homocysteine, your blood pressure falls. Why? Because homocysteine is the most inflammatory compound in your body. When it touches the walls of the arteries clamp down. Anytime you put the pipes in a closed system, it's small. Pressure goes up.
Right.
Pressure is not conductive from the cardiovascular system. I guarantee you, all the hands that went up without hypertension, that's only 5 questions. If that person was one that has hypertension, that's had an aging, it was normal. If they had stress aging, it was normal. If they had a dichotomy study, it was normal. Their heart and lung sounds were normal. Their cardiac catheterization was normal. Well, then why the heck did they have hypertension? Because they have missing raw materials that their body needs to do its job. You guys are getting those raw materials. What else? Yes, ma'am. Right there.
Hypothyroidism.
Hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism. Tell us something about the thyroid in very, very clear doctors. Okay? Thyroid makes 2 hormones. Right? You're right there. Makes 2 hormones. Makes T3, makes T4. Right? That's what the thyroid does. It produces 2 hormones. Only it produces 20% of the T3. Only 20% of the T3 hormone in your blood comes from your thyroid. But if T3 is low, we call that hypothyroid. And we medicate the thyroid. We hold the thyroid responsible for a chronic and does not think. So if the thyroid is responsible for 20% of T3, where does the other 80% come from? It's methylate. It's taken from T4. T4 is refined into T3. 80% of thyroid hormone is T4 converted into T3. That process requires raw materials. It requires B complex. It requires alkaline. It requires magnesium. It requires zinc. If you are deficient in those materials, if you have genetic deficiency in them or your diet is deficient in them, you have hypothyroidism. You have hypothyroidism because your thyroid is not working. You have hypothyroidism because you're looking for raw material to convert T4 into T3. And if you put that raw material into your body, you can start that conversion process and hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism up. Does anybody know what gene hypothyroidism is? There is no gene for hypothyroidism, but we call it genetic. This is why I'm saying, guys, it's up to you. This man, I'm holding you back. You're going to have to speak up because I hope you guys get a lot out of this, man. I know science is tough on these days, but I don't know if you guys are knowledge.
My question is,
I'll take a 5-minute break to hydraulic around your brain, and I'll make everybody in this room 1/4 inch taller as soon as this question is over. Everybody who wants to get a 1/4 inch taller. I'm done. That's it. You're doing a special move to raise your body height to 40 inches.
my question to you is arthritis.
Arthritis. It's arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis. That's what you're talking about. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. Right? This is where the immune system protects the joints. Because it can't tell the difference between friendly tissue and foreign tissue. Right? Those autoimmune diseases are just an issue where the immune system has a cloud of lens. Right? So this is a process that began early in life and slowly manifested to the point where you now have arthritis. But toes. All right? Put your arms out like this. Thumbs facing forward. I want you to twist your thumbs backward. It should hurt a little bit. Don't give in. And I want you to do 40 circles backwards. 9, 8, 30, 20. You should see how fun this is over here. You gotta be real silly. 10. 3, 2, 1. All right, take down. Take down. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the pigeon toes. So we're gonna take our hands, put them together in front of your body, just like this. Interlock. Press down. Okay, lock your arms out straight. Bring it as far and high on your head as you can. Raise your shoulder. I want you to stare at your middle finger. 20 seconds. 19. 10 seconds left. Move towards the sky. Shoulders should be burning. Shoulders should be burning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Woo! So good.
So if I can raise blood oxygen, I can raise your energy. Because what you perceive as energy is nothing more than oxygen in your blood. In fact, we learned after 22 years of studying 370 million lives that the presence of oxygen is the absence of disease. The presence of oxygen is the absence of disease. So what happens when somebody is low on blood oxygen? They're tired, right? What happens when somebody is already tired? oxygen into our body. It will change the oxygen tension in your tissue. Presence of oxygen is an acid synthesis. Do you know where cancer starts? Cancer starts in an acid, low oxygen, high sugar environment. You give cancer sugar, acid, and no oxygen, and it's throwing apart. You want to make your body inhospitable to cancer? Improve your alkalinity, breathe more deeply, push oxygen into your body, and drop the sugar from your diet. Cancer will leave. I love this stuff. What's that? Oh, you want to breathe? Okay, I'm going to use another question and I'm going to teach you how to breathe. How many of you guys can learn that breathing technique? Okay, all right. This one is everything that you do. I'm afraid of what you guys are doing. You learn to breathe with God. That's fine. She's 87, she has what?
She has heart arrhythmia.
Oh, heart arrhythmia. Okay, so is it, you know if it's a sinus arrhythmia? Cardiac arrhythmia?
Heart is cardiac.
Okay, so the best thing that you can do is beef up her intake of L-arginine, right, vasodilation, and get onto a ketogenic diet. If she puts her body into ketosis, ketosis will use fat as a resource. She will start to eat something out of her blood called beta-hydroxybutyrate to eat her body. And you can eat fat off the walls of your body by putting your body into ketosis. I have this argument with people all the time. Oh, carbohydrates are necessary for life. I go, okay, well then eat essential carbohydrates. Because I'm not aware of one. There's essential fatty acids. There are essential amino acids. There is no such thing as essential carbohydrate. They are not necessary for life. We can drop carbohydrate, that's the profile to zero, and we can eat that right out there. If it's a science center. By the way, I'm not going to do it once I'm not a doctor. Just FYI. Yes, ma'am, right here. I'm going to teach you guys how to read. Oh, right there.
My question is, so many of us have family members suffering with dementia and neurodegenerative diseases. What can we do to help them to, I don't want to say be cured, but to maybe slow down the plaque that's building up on their brain so that it's not such a painful process for them?
Yes. So what can we do to slow down the plaques that are building up in our brain? And I love the fact that you're talking about slowing down the plaques that are building up rather than trying to take the plaques out there. That's what a lot of medicine does, right? Because, you know, what we would like here, most of our medicine is we want to manage disease, right? We want to cure disease. Because great strength stuff, right? That's like being a car dealership and investing in research to sell fewer cars. Does that make sense? You know, if I was an airline, I don't know if I would invest in research to sell fewer seats. Right? So pharmaceuticals are not going to invest in research and disease. They will invest in research and disease. I need to almost $110 billion. So what we can do is we can have her breathe, lower her blood sugar intake, and move. Sitting is the new smoking. Sitting is the new smoking. In 2008, EDT tape, American Legion Table for Mortality, upgraded sitting to the biggest health risk on the planet, not just in the United States. The number one health risk in the world is sedentary lifestyle. The one thing that social media and the electronic age has done for us is putting our ass on the couch. Right? And it's not just that we're getting heavier, it's that we are no longer stressing our body. We're not loading our bones, tearing our muscles, and challenging our immune system. So we are getting weaker. So let's do 5 rounds of this breath work. Okay, we're gonna do 1 round of 5 breaths. And what you're gonna do is tomorrow morning when you wake up, I want you to do 3 things. Okay? I want you to breathe. I'm gonna show you how to do it. I want you to, if you can, I want you to do some weight-bearing exercise. All you do is squat in your hotel room, do a push-up in your hotel room, or just statically hold yourself in place. Right? I want you to stress your body. I want you to do some weight-bearing exercise. And the third thing I want you to do is I want you to apply thermal stress. I want you to take a nice cold shower. Yeah. be exposed to 10 days of ice cold water. It will scour your body with free radical oxidation, and it will quadruple the rate of protein synthesis. Which means you will prepare from exercise 4 times faster. It is great. You know what? So the choice is age faster or get uncomfortable in the morning and stop. Okay, so we're going to sit in your chair, put both hands on your legs like this. Sit in your chair, both hands on the feet, nice and comfortable. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in deeply like this, and then we're going to let the air out and relax. I'm not going to deep breathe.
Oh, okay.
Like that. We're only going to do 5. I do 3 rounds of 30. If you get lightheaded after 5, it's a very good sign. You might feel your chin tingle. You might feel your fingers tingle. Okay? So what we're going to do is do 5 of them together right now. When you get to the 5th breath, I want you to breathe out, and I want you to hold your breath. Now pressing your tongue against the roof of your mouth. Tongue against the roof of your mouth. When you can't hold your breath anymore, I want you to breathe in. And I want you to hold your breath again. When you can't hold your breath anymore, I want you to let it out. Now, normally we'll do 3 rounds of this. I only do 1 to teach it to you guys today. Tomorrow morning, I want you to do 3 rounds of that in a comfortable spot. Work your way from 5 breaths to 30 breaths. By the time you get to 30 breaths, you will be in such a good mood when you are done as your spouse will not be able to stand. I can show you some videos on my phone of me coming home from breath work to bed. Not good. Not good. So, here we go. Let's do 5 more together. You ready?
I'm gonna call you right back. I'm about to text you, okay?
You can't hold any longer. Breathe in.
He was incredible.
Ignite your first product. Ignite the caffeine and the reason mushroom in your bloodstream. That's the way to start your day. Follow it up with a cold shower, weight-bearing exercise. I promise you, it will change your life in a way you just cannot imagine. All right, how many times do I have before I get done? So, look. Anyone give me my time? Get going! Okay, let's go. You guys ready to get going? All right. Yes, all right. Congestive heart failure. Yes, congestive heart failure is a progressive disease too, right? It is also genetic. Congestive heart failure is one of those things where pressure and fluid piles up in the heart. The leading cause of congestive heart failure is sedentary lifestyle. And you know what they tell people that have congestive heart failure? Breathe oxygen and stay still. It's like telling diabetics to put shoes on while the nerves are receding in their feet. What happens if you stop stimulating something? Doesn't it recede? Like, if I want nerves in my feet to grow, I would stimulate them. The first thing I tell people that are wearing those big shoes is take your shoes off, buy yourself some green AstroTurf, really crinkly kind, and walk around on it all the time with your shoes off. If you sit at a desk, take your shoes off, put your feet on it. Have the nerves go towards, like when tropism in trees, they grow towards the sunlight. Nerves grow towards the stimulus. So for congestive heart failure, mild amount of movement and mild oxygen. The best thing they can do is learn how to breathe like what I just told you. Get air into those lungs. Retrain that pulmonary pathway so it understands that oxygen is supposed to enter the heart and reduce the fluid in the heart. The other thing that this helps is adding accumulating salt to your drinking water. Those people think salt is dehydrating. That is not true. That is not true. If you were so dehydrated right this moment that you landed in the emergency room, the first thing they would give you is a saline IV. So there goes the methanol salt and water and dehydration. Oh, eczema. So eczema is a liver condition. We think it's a skin condition, but it's a liver condition. It's a secondary route of waste elimination of the liver.
Wow.
broken in your body exactly what deficits you have. In addition to what you're taking here, you supplement for that position.
Tendinitis in my elbows.
Okay, I think we still got some time to go here. I mean, yes.
How about the tendinitis in my elbows?
Pancreatic cancer in women, rise and PTSD, and asthma.
And ask me, okay. So pancreatic cancer, I'm going to write this down. ADAM at TS1. At TS1. That gene is associated with 97.4% of all pancreatic cancer. And we don't think that gene is below the significant. At TS1, 97.4% of all pancreatic cancer patients have a deficiency in that gene. And there's a specific supplement protocol that you can do to help me think of this pancreatic cancer by supporting the function of that gene. We talked about it in the break. It's not specific. It's like silly session. I feel like I'm in churches and break people up here. So I don't want to turn this into too much of a specific talk. I'm happy to talk to all of you guys. Great. What I really wanted to do was empower you guys with the knowledge about your products today. I want you to believe in them as much as I do. Because with my 20 years of digital research, if I think that you guys are on something special, and I think that things that were designed in 1999 that are now being researched in 2016 are hitting the market today, then you should think they're special too.